Hello wise revisers, how are you doing? Great to see you, it's Mr. Wood here. This week we're thinking about why sometimes revision doesn't work. Now if you're interested about this and if you want to improve in your revision and you haven't yet, please do click subscribe, like the video and share it with everyone who you think might be blessed by it if you are blessed by it when we come to the end. So why doesn't revision work? Now you might have had an experience like this sometimes in life before. First time I remember having with me was with making meringue. I followed this making meringue recipe I found, and I did everything it told me to do, and my meringue just did not come together at all. And I was frustrated because I'd followed the instructions, but it didn't work. I also love to run a few marathons in my time, and every time I run a marathon I want to do the next one a bit faster. And the first three I did, all are really similar speed, and I felt like I'd done more training, but they just hadn't improved at all. And that's really frustrating in life when you're training for something, you're willing to put the time in, it's something you really want, but once you've put the time in and you've put effort in, it just doesn't materialize. And when it comes to revision, we can find this, that we're putting time aside to revise. We're going home from school or college or university and we're putting that time in, and when it comes to the test, we're not seeing any fruit from the labor that we've put in. We put the hard work in, we haven't got any of the good stuff coming out the other side. So why is that? Well, the truth is, there's something that I like to call junk revision. In the world of cycling, if you're into cycling at all, you will probably know this, but people who like cycling and want to get better at cycling go out and do a lot of training on their bikes. And there's a thing in cycling called junk miles. And this is when you go out to train, but actually you're not really putting your all into it. You're not raising your heart rate enough. And you can go out and spend a few hours on your bike, and actually what you've done is junk miles, and they're not really benefited you in any way at all. And in the same way, there's a thing called junk revision. And this is when you've put time aside and put effort into revision, but actually the benefits of what you've done are not very good at all. Now you've got to be honest with yourself at this stage, and you have to be willing and reflective and prepared to make a change, because it might be the revision that you've done up until this point is actually junk revision and it's not helping you very much at all. There are most likely 3 reasons why you might be doing junk revision. Number 1, you might be revising stuff that you already know. Number 2, you might be spending too much time on one topic. And number 3, you might just be rereading information and not putting your brain to work. Now, I've made other videos you can watch to address some of those other areas, but in this video today we're considering point number 3. You might be doing revision that is not putting your brain to work. In 2013, a huge meta-study was carried out called Improving Students' Learning with Effective Techniques, Promising Directions from Cognitive and Educational Psychology. Now, all the findings of that study are available online, and you can go away and read that for yourself if you want, but just a quick summary. These scientists looked at all the main ways that students use to revise, and they assessed them using proper scientific experiment to find out how useful they were, and they gave them all a utility rating, i.e. how useful were they, how good were they at making students remember what they had learned as a revision method. Now, they tried every single method you've probably heard of, and some big surprises came out, because some of the most popular ways of revising were deemed to have a very low utility rating, i.e. some of the most popular ways of revising were deemed to be ineffective. However, there are some ways of revising that are incredibly effective, and the main most useful way to revise, most effective strategy that you can utilize is practice testing. Practice testing is simply this: challenging yourself to remember something. Testing yourself, that is simply it. Practice testing could be anything from asking yourself a question in your head to answering it, right through to taking a practice paper and then marking it. This is practice testing. It's testing yourself to see if you can bring to mind what you need to know. Now, practice testing is fantastic because it utilizes hard thinking. It makes your brain work. It puts your brain to work is the expression I like to use. If you want to revise well, you've got to put your brain to work. It's not enough just to read. It's not enough just to re-look at something you've learned before and hope it's going to stick in. It's not going to stick in, or it's very unlikely to. If you want to make sure that what you're learning is going to your long-term memory, and I'm talking long-term so that you can use it in an assessment later on, you've got to utilize practice testing. We're going to explore loads of different ways of utilizing practice testing on this channel, but just a few things to tell you right now. If you're using flashcards, make sure they don't give you all the information you need straight away. You want to put, if you're making a flashcard, a question on one side and the answer on the other, or a keyword on one side and the definition on the other. And by doing that, you're making a practice testing device. Don't give your brain the answer straight away. Make it work. Put that brain to work. Use hard thinking. And if you do that, you're more likely to commit that information to your long-term memory. We don't like to do this. Our brains do not like to work hard. So to really utilize practice testing, you've got to take a deep breath in and be ready to revise. If your revision isn't utilizing practice testing, if you're not putting your brain to work, if you're not thinking hard as part of your revision, then it's likely that what you're doing is junk revision. Now that's the theory, guys. That's the truth about it. If you want to revise well, you utilize practice testing and you put your brain to work. Here's how to put it into practice. Stop right now and just have a think. Is what you're doing for revision at the moment utilizing practice testing? Do you have to focus and put your brain to work when you're revising, or does it come easily? Are you simply rereading stuff that you've learned before? Now, if that's the case, then you need to change your revision habits. Now, I've got loads of videos right now and coming your way about making flashcards for practice testing, making mind maps that you can use for flashcard testing, how to use practice papers in an effective way, and using Cornell notes taking for practice testing as well. They're all amazing. But have a think for yourself now. Be honest with yourself. Is what you're doing right now really engaging your brain? Practice testing is the solution to effective revision. If your revision is not working, it's probably because you're not utilizing it yet. That's it for this session. Check out some more of my videos if you like what you see. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you think these are going to benefit anyone else you know, please feel free to like and share them as well. Have a great day.